released video shows the ambush of a Fort Worth civilian police employee. That unarmed employee was taking a burglary report when a shooter opened fire from across the street.
Yeah, the employee, a decorated combat veteran, kept his cool despite a severe injury to his eye. Fox 4's Sean Rabb joins us now with that video. Sean.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the video is in fact dramatic. This incident dynamic, and it shows the danger Edward Zapata and his partner were in as they went about their civilian role of assisting Fort Worth police. In that role, they were there to take a police report, complete a police report on a burglary that happened the night before, standing on a driveway, unarmed and unsuspecting, when gunfire came their way. I want you to watch the video, listen, and then listen as Chief Garcia talks about it.
Get down, down there. Come back. CRU 122, be an officer at my location. Just got took a shot to the face. If I get an officer here now.
Seeing Edward getting hit, and seeing him fall back, and then seeing him stand up and he grabs some of his property as his eye is bleeding. That man, I tell you what, he's something else. That's the most disturbing part about it.
And what would follow? Tense moments of gunfire exchange back and forth between the suspect and Fort Worth police. Hours later, Angel Cantu was taken into custody. When he was arrested, it was without incident. Now, Zapata had only been on the job a couple of weeks before the ambush attack, and I asked Chief Garcia how this could impact the role of these civilian employees. I know the CRUs are force multiplier, but do you have to rethink that?
Well, I think what we need to think is how to make them safer, how to make sure we're making their job safer. I mean, I'll tell you what, they are unbelievable partners to this police department and to our men and women that enable our officers to higher priority type incidents. And so absolutely, as a professional organization, we've already talked about it. We have to sit around the team. I've had these conversations with the city manager's office as well as to how to make their job safer.
And before he was taken into custody, officers were engaged in gunfire with the suspect still at his home. Other officers were moving to not only get Zapata out of the house that he was in, wounded, shrapnel in the eye, bleeding, but also his partner who was still trapped in their vehicle that they were traveling in. The chief says just about every officer on duty in Fort Worth responded to that area last week as schools were shut down and the dragnet was cast for Angel Cantu, who again was taken into custody without incident. Now, at this moment, how is Zapata doing? Well, of course, we saw him leave the hospital on last week, so we know he's out now, but he has another surgery scheduled on his eye. The chief says we're hoping that he makes a full recovery, but attribute his ability to stay in the moment after getting hit to all of his experience as a combat veteran, a Marine, Purple Heart survivor in the war.
Incredible. Of course, we're going to keep following his recovery. But meantime, Sean, have you been able to learn anything else about this suspect?
Yeah, so he was on parole. There was a parole violation outstanding for him. We understand that he had weapons charges here in Tarrant County, Fort Worth area previously. The chief says it's clear that he was experiencing some sort of mental, his word, episode on last week, and that he was talking, quote, gibberish when he was taken into custody. The chief was asked about Cantu's family, saying that Officer Zapata, the civilian officer, was only hit with shrapnel, that Cantu only had a pellet gun. The chief bristled at that, showing some righteous indignation, suggesting it's a pellet gun and no one wants to get shot with it anywhere, let alone in the eye. So the chief, adamant, yeah, it might not have been bullets with lead in them, but it's a pellet gun, and guess what? It still did a lot of damage, and he wants to make sure people who have felonies in their background here in Fort Worth, Tarrant County, who have guns, get hit with some federal time.
Got it. All right, Sean Rabb live. Thank you.